in. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move right to the veteran sign application discussion, which is number 4. We'll worry about accepting the other minutes and such in a moment. But since Lucy has to leave, I want to get that started now. So we all direct yourselves to where that is in here. There should be 2 copies.
One is the original and one is revised.
Yeah, one's the original, one's the
I wrote revised on the second.
yeah. The second one is the revised one. The first one was the original one that came through. The second one is the revised one. Okay, my question right away at the beginning, and probably somebody else will have the same question. Why did you repeat what you had at the top below the name of the veteran?
That was just a question of the thumb hitting the paste without
Okay,
realizing.
so that's out. So
So
which one do you want
it's
to
already
take out?
gone. I
Which
took
one?
out the second one.
Second one? Okay. So
Under
it's-
the name of veteran?
Under
Right.
the name of veteran,
Okay,
yes.
so that went by beautiful.
Okay.
Where-
It was just a typo.
This is the first one. And then this is the one that came through this year's, this please.
It's there twice.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? I know some people did forward some questions to Terry, I know Ken did. Let's do that now. Let's get that out now. If anybody else has questions on this, I know one of the questions was going to be about might be about the wartime slots, which the dates are and everything else. My suggestion is to be flexible, okay? You know, I mean, if you go to 5 different places, you're gonna find 4 of the 5 agree and 1 doesn't and stuff.
But we did it for one,
Yeah.
we just went to one
Yeah.
place
Yeah,
and
do
they
it-
kept on redirecting us there.
Right, you know what, so then what you gotta do there, what I would suggest for expediency and everything else is to be flexible on it, understand that, you know, you take it on a case-by-case basis, all right? And if you need further documentation from somebody, then get it, okay? And then if it suits you, fine, if it doesn't suit you, that's fine too. I mean, that's the way it goes. You're a committee, so you can do this, all right? These are guidelines, all right? And we're trying to use them as guidelines. Was there anything else, though? I want anybody else that had anything else on this application that they wanted to talk about, wanted to address at this point? I know Ken had a couple of things. Ken, I just want to know if you're satisfied at this point with what we have.
Our catch-all that we added under the other conflicts,
Right.
Bullet point, we thought gave us the flexibility to incorporate especially unique circumstances.
This is the kind of stuff that you have to think out of the box with. All right, and I think that that's fine.
Well, I
You
hope-
you have to allow yourself some leeway.
I had a question under verification where it says, is the township preferred documentation? We generally refer to ourselves as a town, don't we? The towns.
Where?
Down at the bottom, paragraph verification.
Oh,
Report, DD 24,
Right.
214.
I would even,
Townships
valid point, and I would even go further and change it to the commissions.
Committee, or, yeah.
Commissions or subcommittees? Commission,
I would
right?
say the committee. And the committee's preferred documentation for military candidates, because ultimately,
Right.
the bulk of this is gonna be decided by the committee. It's gonna come to us only for some extraneous circumstance.
Gotcha.
All right?
That was a
You
good
guys
catch.
your guys are, you have 4 members on that group,
Yes.
Mhm.
okay? I would suggest, just out of the blue here, some kind of, a little bit of thought that there's a 5th, to break ties and stuff. And I'm suggesting, not ordering, I'm suggesting that might be somebody who is representative perhaps of the VFW. Okay, hello, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Or somebody, you know, or.
Valid point, and if we get that person, we'll be happy to take them. But
Cool.
even if we do have a tie, if we don't get a 5th
Yeah.
person and we have a tie, we're still bringing that deadlock decision to this commission. So we still have the,
Okay, just it gives you a little bit of
Yeah.
flexibility and stuff. I mean, normally a commission or a committee, there's usually a quorum that's needed for a meeting and such.
Jim.
And your quorum is gonna be 3. You have 4 members on the commission, it's gotta be 1 more than half, just so you know. You can't meet with 2, you gotta meet with 3. And theoretically speaking, all your notes at your meetings and everything else and all that stuff are also subject to being reviewed, so they should be kept. All right?
Just out of curiosity, how are the streets chosen? And
That's not our purview.
Well, I
That's for
actually.
here.
Oh, no,
What?
I
I don't think so.
no, what we had decided on that, like, whoever we choose, it would be on their street.
Well, what we discussed, we didn't decide. Because, again, that's not up to us. That's up to
No,
us.
No, I
the
think
very
it's-
first meeting we
I think
had,
that's up to you,
Lucy,
as a
Lucy
committee,
had
as a
said that
committee.
it would be on, just like with the
Yeah.
Hecker Avenue with the police department, it's on that street because of the police department. So whoever everybody decides we're gonna do, it would be put onto their street. I mean, why would it be put anywhere
Well, no,
else?
that's the optimal, but again,
well, and that also helps answer the next question, which is, what do you say to the residents on the street when you come hanging some dude's name
I wondered about that,
on the street sign? But at least if you can say, well, he used to live here,
yes.
Yes.
you've got
Yeah.
something to say.
Well, you're gonna run into
They're
that.
not gonna, who's gonna say, I don't want a
Yeah,
veteran who served
right.
our country's name to be on my street sign?
Yeah.
You might be
Oh,
surprised.
Well,
yes.
This
then
is
it-
Barry in Connecticut.
Lucy?
I say,
I wouldn't be surprised if people
A
objected.
lot of entitled people.
It would not
Well,
shock
then,
me.
why nobody, objected to having Kenneth Bateman's name?
Oh, yes, they did.
Oh, yes, they did.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yes,
I
they
was
did.
here.
We were here,
They
right on.
had
Yeah.
a huge
Oh, I didn't know that.
hullabaloo about that.
Yeah, there was a big.
Even on the
we won't-
commission,
don't
we
get
had
into
people
that,
who
but I can-
did
trust me,
not
there was
want it.
There was a thing about that, to do about that.
As I
From
can
this
tell you
commission,
later
too.
who.
Wow.
But,
some
I
people
think-
have a problem
Yeah.
with sunshine. We'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah, but without,
change.
without denigrating anybody else's opinions and stuff and everything else, just understand
Yeah.
that you may very well run into a variety of situations. And one of those situations may be somebody who has a thing about not having that sign changed in any way, shape, manner, or form. It can happen, okay? And don't be naive and think that it won't. So keep yourselves open for everything. We don't have a quick answer for that right now, but should the situation arise, you try to resolve it within your committee. If it isn't resolvable within the committee, then you bring it to the commission. If it isn't resolvable within the commission, then we jump it up higher.
Well, wouldn't it be that if, since the signs and everything are owned by the town,
That's right.
and if the town says, yes, this is what, you can do this, why, then the residents
Well,
could
They
not.
can complain,
Let's just back it up and go to a broader perspective. There's a probability that at some date in the future, there's going to be a submission and approval for someone who's been dead for 50 or 100 years. So let's not get caught up on which street it's going on. No street name is being changed. This is a memorial
on.
designation. No mailing address is being changed.
Right.
No street change is being taken, no street sign is being taken down. It's an honorarium. And I think we should just move on to the next point.
No, I
Yes.
think,
But
I think,
you
I
bring a
think that's
question
good,
too.
but we should, go ahead.
When you say is it singularly for somebody who has passed?
No.
Well, there's the issue. Because if it's somebody who is alive and Joe and Mary Dokes are living on that street and they're a little kind of cranky, and they say, nobody told me about the street being changed. And if you go out and you soft them and say, but your street name isn't changed, oh, well, if they're nice and decent people, they'll
I
go
remember
along
that
with
guy,
it.
he used to have a dog, goddamn thing, barked all the time.
Well, I suggest
mean,
we get
that's
ourselves
what
a
you gotta run
teapot and
into.
put this tempest in it and move
No,
on.
yeah, well, you may
Because
just, the other thing is, it may turn out that this whole project becomes unwieldy because of the town and what it is, and because of all the other stuff. And if it does, then I think we get great credit for having tried to do a wonderful thing, and you move on to the next opportunity.
And
that's, you know,
leave yourself open, I'm just saying, leave yourself open for the cons, because that'll happen. I mean, I don't wanna be, I wanna be Pollyanna, but I don't wanna be somebody of gloom and doom. And it may come to a point where, since it's changing something in the town, or doing something with it, where either you're changing a street sign, which comes under the town purview, there may be a hearing or something that gets prompted on it at some place down the line. And I'm going out to the extreme, but I just want you to be aware of it. I want you to realize that just because some of us feel a certain way, that doesn't mean everybody in town is gonna feel a certain way, all right? And that's the way it goes. I mean, it's just the reality of it. So be aware of it, you know, you're gonna move along, you're gonna do your thing, and, trust me, you will see all manner of agreement and disagreement as you go along, and it's how you deal with that as you go along that shows your strength as a committee and as a commission.
I'm sure he deserves it, Bob.
Yeah, exactly. So, is there anything else, that having been said, and us being aware of it?
No, I don't think there's anything else you can do on the form.
Yeah, okay, so the form has to be okay in order for the group to move ahead.
Well, even if it's just a typo, we can't vote on it today?
Yes, we can.
We can, yes.
can.
Things
Okay.
like that.
And he
The
can
typo's
change.
removed,
Okay.
and the word township has been changed to committees. And with those two changes, I make a motion that the form be approved as amended.
I second it.
Is there any discussion, any further discussion? Okay, because that's what we call for next. A pregnant pause.
I know I'm not allowed to ask, but can I ask? How are you giving these out to people? How are you getting this out?
Oh, let's vote
Can
on
we-
it first.
let's
and
vote
then-
first.
Yeah.
There being no further discussion, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of okaying the newly revised form for the Veteran Sign Program, please show assent by raising your hand. All those opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay, so it's carried. So now you have now you are official. Okay,
Was
now
it-
you have an official form.
Was it
Yeah.
unanimous?
Yes,
It was unanimous.
yes.
So now you have an official form, you can move ahead. I would caution you to move ahead cautiously, okay? Because
low.
you wanna take baby steps, and you wanna make sure that you dot your i's and cross your t's at every move, because you do live in a high-powered district, you live in a high-powered town, and you wanna make sure that everybody has their chance. And the question of how is this gonna be disseminated and such is really up to the committee. I would imagine that at some point, copies of this will reside in the town hall.
Yeah, we talked,
Okay.
we
Yeah, because
did talk about it already.
We keep copies of, for instance, the form for the display case downstairs, right next to the secretary, that's the receptionist.
We thought that we'd have copies here for people that,
And that's the other place, because they invariably, if there's a lot of different places to get this stuff, they go to the selectman's office. And so Linda and Karen would have to be made aware of it, and Jamie and such.
Is there a policy on how many we're going to do in any given year?
I think they had talked about doing X amount, a couple, 2 or 3 or
Yes.
something like that, for the first year.
We're planning on walking, not running.
Yeah, I think you
No, I'm
should
just
walk
curious,
down.
because the other thing is that if you get 5 or 6 and you might need to choose among them, one of the considerations might be the street on which the sign goes, along with that person's service and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it just,
if everything goes well, what we're hoping is that everything will be done by Memorial Day and we can
Yeah.
announce the person at the Memorial Day ceremony.
because once you get a few signs up, the rest should go a little more easily.
Right. I'm also going to mention that, and this jumps actually down to 2020, but 2020 is of course planning on doing some commemorative signage on certain town properties that are historically important. So each one of those will be a ceremony. Each one of your things will be a ceremony. Okay, so when you start to plan this and such, you've got to look at the big picture and see how everything fits into the year, so that these things aren't banging heads.
Right.
All right, so, and that won't come out till, I know 2020 has a meeting tomorrow, Ken will fill us in a little bit today.
Right, but keep in mind, anything that we're doing, we're just the subcommittee, we're bringing it here.
Right.
And it's then for the commission to make those
But I don't think the
decisions.
commission should be charged with making all those. I think it should be a committee.
I think the committee
committee
should be
that
picking the
does it.
people, doing the screening.
Correct.
Okay.
And doing the stuff.
But
You can bring
anything
it to us at the
that,
plan.
but if we
Yeah.
don't bring it to you, there's no decision.
And then
Well, you
Jamie
just-
And if we
Stevenson
do
asked for
bring
it
it
to
to
go to
you,
them
then
too.
it's a decision.
You keep it, you
Yeah.
keep the commission informed.
Yes,
Yeah,
So,
just
but
keep it
essentially you make
informed.
whatever
Yeah.
decisions
but you
can
make the decisions.
because the
You know,
commission
if,
makes
there- if in your notes to us and everything else, we see something that raises a red flag, I'm sure you'll hear from me or
Mhm.
somebody. All right, but other than that, you
But
have
the
been empowered to do
for
a job,
instance,
just like cemetery
The
and just
cemetery
like,
functions,
and just like 2020,
itself
they have
reports.
chairman, they have a committee, they do their thing, okay? The grown-ups, all right, so, not,
Another question
Yeah.
on the table is you asked me to put together an approximate price of how much a package would
Right.
cost if somebody wanted to donate it or whatever. I spoke with the sign makers again today, and they said the cost of the sign would be $60. But I am having trouble knowing where to look next for any other costs. Like we had, when I presented it originally, I said maybe we could have a proclamation made announcing that day, Lucy Berry Day in the town of Darien, signed by Jamie, and then maybe framed, so I'd have to look and see how much a frame
yeah.
costs.
Well,
And I
think you
and I
should,
don't
yeah.
know whether or not would we be donating an American flag to the family as well? Or, do we need anybody, like a police officer there when we're having a little ceremony?
Yeah.
So those
So
are
police-
open items for me that I
Right.
haven't gotten
Right.
to the
You have
bottom
to-
of yet.
You have
but-
to nail each one of those down. And
Okay.
once you've nailed down your pricing, and you know how much it's gonna cost you for the sign, plus any other accoutrements you're gonna put down, the proclamation being framed or whatever. And you can talk that over with,
Okay.
with Jamie to see what the story is as far as that goes, how she wants to handle that. Whether the framing is gonna come from her or what, or what. There's some
Because
cases-
nowhere on the
Yeah.
sign, on the sheet does it say that if there's a cost involved with this.
Right.
And I think people will be asking, like, how much does this cost? Can I, sponsor it for my grandfather or whatever? And
maybe we should put,
so,
I would completely have church and state separation cost in consideration.
that's what I'm
One-
saying, that's why I didn't bring it up before we
Yeah.
voted
No,
on the
I
thing.
think- Because the people that are asking to have somebody remembered are not gonna bear the cost of this.
Right.
Unless they want to.
And we certainly don't want somebody thinking they can buy a street sign.
Exactly,
Exactly.
Right.
which is why I wanted to keep it separate.
Now-
But you might get groups in town that wanna.
Sponsor them.
that wanna
Right.
sponsor.
Yeah.
I have
That's
somebody
fine.
who wants to sponsor some
That's fine.
like the
already.
VFW. Now, are we still doing that the very first one will be paid by the commission?
I think we've discussed that.
We
yes, I
did- we
think we
did.
said we would.
Okay.
Yes, I think we
All right.
discussed that. So this will be our trial balloon, all right? We'll do this one and we'll see how it works out.
Okay.
But if you want a proclamation from Jamie, I don't think that's
Yeah,
a
you
big deal.
just go talk to
I
Jamie
think
about
she'd
the
be
whole
more than
thing.
willing to do that, and then whether, how you wanna do it and such, and how they wanna give it out, that's
Okay.
something you work out. You work out a number, and once you get that number, then you make it into a little bifold brochure, and that's it. And that little
Did-
bifold gets printed up here and goes out.
Did Public Works say they would put it up?
I think two.
Yes, they said they'd
They'll
do
put
it for
up
free.
For nothing.
Yeah.
And if
They
it's
try
on a
to keep
street
it-
corner, obviously, where there's gonna be traffic problems, if you got 30 people gathered around a sign and stuff, I'm sure a policeman, a traffic person has to be.
I just didn't know if I have
So you gotta
to
talk to
put
the
that
DA.
into my cost.
Yeah.
You gotta talk to
Jamie.
Anderson,
Okay,
see what he says about that.
Yeah, talk to him and
Yeah.
see how much a policeman is for an hour, I guess.
If
I don't know.
it's a town function, if it's a town business, it's not a private thing, and this is a town function, there shouldn't be any cost, it should be.
Should probably be able to answer all those questions.
okay. I'm sorry I didn't have it all
No,
figured
but
out
that's
for
fine.
today.
Now, that's your next step.
Right.
That's what you guys are gonna go back and do and discuss. You're gonna discuss dollars and cents, and you're gonna discuss what is the complete package gonna be? It's gonna be, is there an invitation involved, or is there a proclamation involved? And that's it. You can go from there, all right?
Just
Maybe after you do
a
this,
point of interest,
Maybe next week, get together.
Um,
just iron everything completely out.
that Sedgwick and Mansfield were both Civil War generals who were killed in the Civil War. And we already have, so therefore we already have, no, they were Connecticut people, they weren't.
I marked Sedgwick's
We
grave.
marked Sedgwick's grave last year.
Last year,
Yeah.
yes, because I'm a Union
She's
daughter of the
daughter's a
Union veteran.
Oh, my God.
And you've got
You're a daughter of
Fitch
so many
Avenue
people.
also.
I know.
I'm many people's daughters.
You've got Fitch Avenue right around the corner.
Oh, he never served.
He was
just dollars and cents?
He was, my understanding is not in battle, but my understanding he was the colonel of the regiment, because back then, they were appointed.
Whatever.
Anyway,
The point is that there are some historically named streets in town, yes? Okay?
Yes.
And,
They're all named after
yeah,
veterans who
after
served.
veterans who already did
Yeah,
serve,
whatever.
okay.
It's not,
Right.
so we're not inventing this.
Right, exactly. It's true. So is there anything else to do on that particular item?
So for the next meeting,
What?
do you want
Yeah, if you can have something
a
for us for the
packet
next
of
meeting.
the sign, the price, the police, the proclamation, the whole thing, like just bulleted what it is?
Yeah,
So
just
we know?
information, because this was the key thing we had to get out of the
Yeah,
way.
I mean, I started, I have that, but it's not complete.
Okay.
I
Well, you know what?
even put a picture of the sign so everyone here could remember this is what we're
Take-
talking about, is just having it on the bottom, not.
Take the time to.
But the one you're
just
talking
get
about will
something
be on
for us.
top, right?
No, we voted here that they didn't like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Said to,
What's that there?
they,
It's gonna be
the
on the bottom?
police
It's
said,
gonna
we
be-
don't want another one on top.
Right,
They said it has to be like this one where you have it
Exactly.
written on the sign.
and that's
Okay.
fine, as far as I'm concerned. Anything else on that issue?
Thank you very much.
Okay, if not,
Okay,
thank you
the
very
next
much
one.
for all your
Yes,
work.
okay.
Please continue to do more.
thank you.
And remind your kids over at the middle
Middle
school
school.
and anybody that there is a World War I exhibit going
Yes,
on.
we spread the word to all the teachers at the high
You
school
need
and the
one of
middle
those,
school. I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah, it's
It looks
pretty cool.
amazing.
You'll enjoy it.
Thank you.
And by the way, the Monuments and Ceremonies Commission was invited by the Darien Historical Society. Here it is. This is our invite. This is what it looks like. The opening reception is Friday this week, and then it goes from now until the middle of June, July. Okay? It's quite a neat thing. And somebody else, I have a few extras of these if you want them. It has nothing to do with anything else we're doing here, but here they are if you want to have one. All right? Okay, let me move on to, let's go back to the accepting the minutes for the January 8th meeting so we can get back. I'm glad we got that out of the way. All right?
I have one already, thank you.
And this is celebrating Durian's World War I, by the way. We try to include as much stuff from Durian, and there's some really, really neat stuff in there from people from Durian, all right, which I think you'll be interested in. So, let's accept the minutes from January 8th meeting. This is the one that we had that was official back in January. If there's any additions, deletions, or corrections, we would love to see that. I will make a statement right now that I will be in attendance. My wife and I will be here on Memorial Day. I
good.
will run the ceremony. That's a two-edged sword, all right? But we'll talk about the other edge in a moment, all right. So let's, can I get a motion to accept the minutes from January 8th? So moved here. Anybody second? Raleigh second. Any discussion, additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, I will move for a vote. How many people accept it? Raise your hand. Anybody against it? No? Abstained? Beautiful. Minutes of January 8th are accepted. Now, we had an unofficial meeting on February 19th. We were here. We were one short of a quorum, so therefore we couldn't decide anything. So we decided to talk about stuff anyway because there was no reason not to. We didn't vote on anything. As you notice in this meeting note, it says no votes would be taken, no votes were taken, and on and on and on. But it's informative for you there. There is some information there. I don't know that we need to vote on accepting these minutes, but just to, I can't see how it would hurt. So I'm going to make a motion that we
I
accept the
second.
motion. Karen seconds it. And all those in favor? Would be-
Well, the only thing that, and I don't think this has anything to do with us, but the note about the 2020 committee meeting being on Wednesdays at 11.
What about it? The meeting dates?
Yeah. Not us, the 2020 committee.
Yeah.
If it is going to be that day, that time, I cannot make those that day, that time.
No, this is for the people on the 2020.
That's for the people on
committee.
2020.
I know, just,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's in here, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's here, it's at Town Hall, and the meeting's tomorrow, right, Ken? Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so that's been accepted. The list of display case participants, we did not use another small sapling to run off all the applications again.
But I
For
have
this
them.
group that we had for the last meeting, but we have
They're all here.
applications for every single one of the months from now to the end of the year. At this particular point, the Darien Historical Society has their exhibit in. So that's what's in for March. So we've already done January, February, and March. All the rest of these, we have all applications from every one of these people. So I just need a motion to accept all the applications.
Motion.
So moved, Sharon, and seconded by Sue-Ann, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? No? Okay, unanimous. Veteran Sign Program, we've already discussed that, that's done.
By the way, the
Yes.
2020 committee has January, just so you know.
Yeah, just so you guys know.
The 2020 committee, Jamie signed you up for January of 2020
Right,
to have the display case.
right. Okay, so that's just another nice little deal. Let's jump to the progress of 2020, and Ken will give us a brief rundown on that. Go ahead, Ken.
Well, I think the most significant thing is that the chairman of the organization now is Al Miller, who seems to be digging in and really doing a job and organizing things. And I'll be interested to see what happens tomorrow at the meeting. The last meeting we had, there was only 3 or 4 of us there because he had just come in, just begun to do it, and didn't even have a full list of volunteers and people who had agreed to serve. But by God, he's ready to go now, and I think we will have more. It's a shame in a way that this group meets the day before and not the day after 2020, because next time I report, it'll be 29 days old.
Oh, right.
But hey.
You can give us, Al can continue to do what he does. He's been keeping me up to date. I mean, I'm in the loop, but he keeps sends me information. I mean, every time they do something, or they think of something, or they plan something for a meeting, which is great. And,
You're
and I
informed. I was thinking of the,
Yeah.
I was thinking of the enlisted men.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's anything wrong with disseminating, preliminary stuff from that group to the rest of the group if we want to do that. We could do that.
Don't they have minutes?
Hmm?
They'll have minutes, right?
Right.
At their meeting?
Right.
You
And
get a
minute-
copy of the minutes, you could circulate them.
That's
Right,
a
and
good-
the
group.
minutes,
That's a good idea,
the
Jim.
minutes will be forwarded to the town hall, and they will become part of the town hall website. So anybody that wants to really check on that can look at them
Or we
there.
could actually, we could actually ask Al to just copy the members of the committee.
On his
so that
minutes.
Everybody's up to.
Sure, you can do that, no
Yeah.
problem. This way, I mean, there's a couple of ways that we can get at it. So if you're interested, I think, it's going to be a great program. They've already decided, he's already narrowed, I mean, this is a broad scope. He's already narrowed it down to certain things that they want to do. For instance, putting out some historical markers in town, which is something that was done in the 150th also, and also in 200th anniversary, 1776, 1976 also. And some of them are still there. I think it's a great idea. They're not planning on doing 1 million of them, but they'll be doing a certain number of them.
Here
And
they are.
They've got some publications.
We're working that.
Yeah.
Getting it smaller.
We're weeding.
Oh, good.
Well, what I've done there, Karen, is Al asked me to rate them or rank them or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So I will tomorrow be giving them
Right.
that list back with 1 or 2 things that he has added to it. But my opinions, I put, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars.
Okay.
That kind of business.
Yeah, because this is long, a lot.
Let's see what goes first. Yeah, absolutely.
And they film these meetings, so I watched the February 13th meeting, which we have the agenda for in here. I watched that meeting one night, a couple of weeks ago, after they had their meeting, and it was fine. I mean, Jamie was there, there were a bunch of other folks there and everything else. There'll be more people each time. They're starting with a small nucleus and building up. But
How's the
anybody who's
logo?
on that commission, or committee rather, should really get themselves there to the meeting tomorrow. because they're starting to move along. So please be aware, and they always meet on the second Wednesday, I believe,
Yes.
the second Wednesday of the month.
At
They've
11 o'clock.
established that, 11 o'clock, room 119 downstairs. So
Ken, can I just ask you a question? Everybody's focused on, obviously, Thaddeus Bell's gravesite. So, I mean, are there going to be a lot of various ceremonies? Because we know that the DAR is going to be presenting a plaque.
She's coming tomorrow.
she's coming to the meeting tomorrow, the Catherine.
We'll have
Catherine
we'll have to
Love.
sort that out.
Catherine is.
See, first of all, my understanding is that these these location signs, these historical markers, if you will, are going to be sponsored, and if somebody elects to sponsor the Thaddeus Bell one, then there will be a Thaddeus Bell one. If they don't elect to sponsor it, I'm not too sure what will happen then, but I mean, I'm guessing that they would.
Like, are your signs considered, like I think the DAR one is going to be a plaque either in the ground or,
Right.
you know, just in a
Will that be like a bronze plaque?
what is it, bronze plaque?
Bronze?
Bronze.
Oh,
you know?
bronze, yes, I'm sorry.
Because what we're talking about here, these are these laminated
Interpretive
things,
signs.
interpretive things with
Okay.
pictures and
That'll be
story.
standing upright, just
No, it'll be like so, standing, you know, and like you stand there and read it.
Like the one that's down at the beach. at
Like the one that's down at the beach
Right.
at the
The
boat
landing.
ramp.
Okay.
It would sort of be
About
like this
shellfish.
in front of,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in front of you, only bigger.
By the boat club.
And we would probably have it outside the cemetery and not inside next to the, because that would be kind
Right.
of ham-handed.
Yeah, because I guess I'm worried that all of a sudden there's going to be all these plaques or signs stuck around this very small headstone and.
No.
Yeah.
No, I've already told them that I think it had to go outside.
Okay.
Had to go out near the entrance.
Okay, all
And
right.
that this is essentially, here's the cemetery, and it, the main interest in the cemetery is the resting place of the founder or
Right,
something,
okay,
you know,
right.
whatever.
Which, just so you know, the cemetery committee's going to be attending to fixing that all up, so.
Good.
Cleaning it up and fixing Mrs. Bell's.
Yeah, I think
headstone.
when you, I think the region, the current region is gonna show up at your meeting tomorrow. She's already communicated with Al Miller. She's got Catherine Love, she's gonna come to the meeting tomorrow. She'll have some ideas and stuff, you can go back and forth with her as far as that goes. And I had also mentioned to Al that I knew a couple of people, especially the people that are developing up by the Masonic Lodge, the Fletcher, okay. That particular cemetery, even though it may not be on your list, there are people there that are willing, there may be people there that are willing to also fund the signage there. And it should be uniform anyway throughout the town and everything else. So close cooperation with the cemetery group and stuff will be good because of the fact that they've got a handle on, you know, what's going on in each place.
Yeah, the idea is that down the line, well, first of all, there's a couple of things. Number one, this gives you the one opportunity to have a lasting souvenir, if you will, of the bicentennial.
Right.
And so, and the other is that something that I think we've all kind of talked about over the years and wanted is that, gee, you know, you go to a lot of towns now and you can actually go from place to place and get a sense of the history of the town. And that's really what we're shooting for here as well.
I think that sounds great, yeah.
It's great. It's awesome stuff. I mean, I liked the one down at the beach because it looks like it was strong, it was sturdy, and it was really, you know, going to be a lasting thing there. It talks all about the shellfish beds and everything else. You see a few of those around in town and stuff, and now we're really looking. Now we're cooking with gas. Now we got a really nice layout in town, and people can go to these places. And I think you'll find that there are groups that are in close proximity to some of these sites that may want to contribute and stuff. But you can find that out as you go along. You know, baby steps first. But I know you guys have a lot in the works, and when you really have something to tell us, I'm sure you'll come forward with it and all that. Is there anything else on 2020 anyone want to add or subtract?
Jim, anything you want to add?
How's the logo coming along, though? How's the logo? Did you get responses? Oh,
Pardon me. It
Still
came out. Huh?
still working on it?
Yeah, The submissions from the school were predictable. And, which meant that there was nothing that you could just pick up and say, wow, there it is. So that is still being ironed out. And I know that, Bob Pascal was interim director, whatever, and I know that he was very interested in that aspect of it, and Al presumably has been speaking with him about it.
Right.
And we'll see tomorrow whether that has progressed anyway, because we need it. I mean, we can't just delay forever on this. It has to.
Because it has to go on everything. Yeah.
Well, it has to go on everything, and we also, if you're gonna talk budgeting, you need to know what your,
That's right.
what your.
What your cost basis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of budgeting, there is a budget downstairs. Everyone take a copy of it and all that when you walk out of the building and stuff, and you can see how much they've proposed and revised and done and everything else for all the different areas that we have money in for. I haven't had a chance to go over with a fine tooth comb yet, but there is one downstairs for everybody to take. I'm sure they'd be happy to get them going. Any other questions for progress of 2020? Anyone? Okay. I'm going to let Tracy talk about Earth Day for a couple of minutes here. I think she's got the handle on that.
The Freemason, I apologize, I always get it wrong, but your Freemason.
Right, Freemasons, yeah.
Lodge very nicely offered to kind of help at Earth Day again, which we really appreciate. So the day chosen is, Earth Day is actually April 22nd. Easter is Sunday, April 21st. And Saturday is going to be the Earth Day cleanup. So I don't know if that's going to throw a wrench into anything, but we're going to be reaching out to the Boy Scouts.
Look, you're not going to get Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not-
their heavy
Yeah. Oh,
tag
that's their
sale.
tag sale.
Well, they're
Yeah.
set up, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
The entire Boy Scout organization is
Consumed.
Yeah, okay, I totally understand that.
But you know what? Invite the Girl Scouts.
Oh, how do I reach them through you?
Right here.
Oh, there you go. Girl Scouts, would you be interested in helping on Earth Day?
Yep, and I suggested to contact the Y Guides as well, because they do.
Oh, okay.
They
All
do a
right.
cleanup in the fall. They call it Leaves for Ladies, I know, but
Okay.
I'm sure they're also very interested.
Okay. Oh, I'll do that there. Thank you.
And probably the schools, to get into the blast for the schools.
I will talk to Sharon about that. I think there was
Okay.
something last year where it had to be on a school day if they were gonna do it,
Okay,
and,
put it in there.
you know, and liabilities and things like that, so.
Okay.
But, we'll reach out to them. It's just probably gonna be me supervising, however, so if any of you would like to supervise, where you don't have to actually rake.
Is
which I don't-
Mark going to be involved in this?
Yes,
Okay, so he's another supervisor.
yes, yes.
Mark Lindsay
so-
from
right.
the Masonic Lodge.
So we don't know how many people, but we're gonna put the word out. It's just, unfortunately, it's the timing, and now you're telling me the Boy Scouts too.
We should put something in the paper about it.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
something in the paper
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Finalize it with Mark or something, whatever. Get something in the paper, figure your times out and go with it.
Yeah.
It was really beneficial last year. I mean, when Karen and I were over in Slauson.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean, and as you well know, I'm not telling you anything, there's a huge tree right across where Thaddeus Bell's, just up near where Thaddeus Bell's grave is. That's town taken care of. So really, right, town should be pulling that out of there or no?
Well, if we can get things chopped up and brought to the front, they'll pick it up.
Okay.
But I think actually going back there and chopping things up hasn't been on the list.
On their high list of things. Well,
Right.
maybe we should knock on their doors again and say,
Yeah,
do it.
we had a lot of pine trees fall this last few weeks.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if you go through the selectman's office and stuff and everything, I don't want to pull rank or anything else,
Yeah.
but.
And it
s-
is
and
The
mention-
founder of the town.
Mention where it is, okay?
Okay.
Where, whose graves it's laying across and so on and so forth, that may have to get moved.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Because the
right.
tree stuff is not something we expect Earth Day people to take care of.
No, no,
We're just
no.
wanting, rakes, and if there's a few clippings that have
But
to be.
that's a major
Yeah,
piece.
I know. There's just
Okay.
a couple of them down there.
I looked at it and I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
All right. All right, anybody else on the Earth Day? We can talk about that? Okay, so let me jump down to Grand Marshal and speaker publicity. We do have the bio for the speaker.
Yes,
and we're
today.
just-
I got it.
today, and we're waiting for a photograph also, all right? And I'm gonna mention something now, and it pains me to say this,
I
but,
would be very careful
yeah,
on television.
yeah, but we will revisit the Grand Marshal situation soon, only because there's an illness involved, okay? And that's all I'm gonna go with, all right? So we'll be talking about that. As far as parade details go, as told you, I will run the ceremony in the cemetery. I do need somebody to manage the parade end of it. So, you know, that having been said, I see the hands shooting up like crazy. I see Terry's hand jumping out of his seat. You've done this before.
I'll do it again.
Okay, so here's the deal. What we've done so far, and I say that loosely because what we've done so far isn't what I've done. It's what Linda O'Leary has done in the main office. She's amazing. So this is not her first rodeo. She's done this before. Once she's gone through the hoops. We started the process on the flyover a month ago. Okay, she did. And today we got confirmation, or she got confirmation in there that a unit, you know, what they do is they put it out to their units. A unit has picked it up and has decided they will do it. And from what it looks like to me, it's a C-130 that's going to fly over.
Charlie 130.
And nothing like watching a C-130 come over, I'm telling you. Because they come over low and you think they're going to land on you.
Tell me when it's gonna come, all right?
Okay, it is just massive. It is just awesome.
And
So
loud.
that's gonna happen. All right, so that's one thing pushed ahead. She has already applied for all of the
Permits.
insurance
Can I just
certificates. Yeah,
actually
Yeah.
add something on that?
Yeah.
We might want to put in the announcement, you know, see the exciting
right.
plane fly over, because I cannot tell you how many young women said to me, "Is that all right? Was that supposed to happen? Did they know that that was going to happen?"
Well, when it
It
came over, my heart
scared-
was
They
in my
ever
mouth.
come to a
It scared a lot of people.
It scared the-
Aw.
I was
And
I was
so-
standing there. I was standing
The
there at
kids
the
all thought it
viewing
was
stand.
cool, but the moms were like,
It was-
I don't know.
He was low. It was
that,
beautiful.
Was that normal? And
Yeah. That's normal.
part
It
of the
happens
deal.
every parade.
Part
They
of
don't
it, and
come.
then he goes down in Greenwich, and then he goes, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we want to say exciting flyover.
Yeah,
or
we'll
something
mention
like
that. We can mention
A
that
way
there,
to
and-
put
We'd
that
like to
in
do
the-
publicity.
We'll do. We'll
Maybe
get,
even get a picture of one into the paper.
yeah, I do have
We
one.
have
I do
pictures
have
of
a
it.
picture of it when it came over the last time. I managed to get my camera up and nail it a couple of times
Yeah,
as it
you have
went
a
right
good one,
over.
good
So-
ones.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. All right, yeah. So the permits have been applied for. We had to do the permits for use of Good Wives with Erstad Biddle and a whole bunch of other places, and so and insurance forms and stuff. We do put a reviewing stand down on the post road in front of a business. We have to get a permit from them. We will have to, not right away, but soon, I'll send a letter to Park and Rec to move the big platform when it's supposed to be moved, just so they're aware of it. We'll alert them to the fact that it's, you know, it's got to be put out there.
And we have an invocation person and a benediction.
Right. The list of people on the program has been filled out pretty well. We don't have the scouts, obviously, yet, or anything else, or the kids that are going to do read an essay or do something like that. But we do have Monsignor Cirillo will do the invocation and benediction again. So that's been tied up. We do have Chris Andrade with his speaker system and the tutor singers tied up. The color guard from the VFW, Raleigh, has to be tied up. Okay, for that. So I don't know if you're in contact with those guys, but you can be. I don't know whether you guys still have meetings or what. But we do need to know whether they're going to be there. You know, they can
Color
fire.
guard.
They can fire the salute and stuff. I can do one of two things with the buglers. I can either request them from the high school, or I can request Anthony to do it. We've had the high school kids do it the last couple of years and such. But I can ask Anthony if he's available to do it. Anthony Montemuro, he always does a fantastic job. Last year with the medical team couldn't, but, so I can ask for that. So then there's the nuts and bolts, things like the bell and the speaker stand.
And the chairs.
Oh,
Last year, we got doubled up.
Chairs, yeah. What did we get them from last
Because
year?
we went and got them from the Boy Scouts, and when we got down with the Boy Scouts, there were a bunch of chairs there
And where
already.
did they come from?
We don't know.
Yeah, we still don't know.
Was it Norotan that brought down some chairs for us?
Who
or
took them
something?
away?
Well, we're assuming
Mystery
it was
chairs.
We're
Norotan.
But I
assuming
think
it was
it was
Norotan.
the-
Norotan used to give us,
Norotan's firehouse.
Norotan Firehouse used to give us
I
their
think
the
that's
chairs.
probably
And we
it.
get the bell from Norotan Heights and things like that. But, so we have to square away, if we can get them from the Boy Scouts, then we don't have to ask Norotan. If we can't get them from the Boy Scouts, then we have to ask Norotan, but, you know.
Well, the bell comes from.
Bell comes
from
from
Norotan
Norotan Heights.
Norotan
Norotan
Heights.
Heights, yeah.
Yeah. And Sharon and
We
Alan
can
will
get
take care of that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's taken care of. The
Now,
only thing required of people
Who gets a podium?
on that day
Podium,
is
Alan
to
will do
dress,
the podium.
the podium comes from
Okay,
VFW.
well, thanks.
Yeah. The only other thing to do that day is that early that morning, we meet, and we put all the bunting up. The bunting is all stored downstairs, okay? So, on the day of the parade, we all get there 7:30 or thereabouts, put the bunting up, go for breakfast, or Jake's, no.
And the flags on the street?
Huh?
Does this committee do the flags on the street?
Yes, there's
Oh.
there's usually, we have two sets of flags. One set that we put on the podium,
Not
and
the
one
ones
set
on
that
the
we put
flag.
on the reviewing stand.
No,
Not
Right.
the ones on the flag
I guess
post.
I was thinking of the ones on, yeah, on the.
Oh,
No,
they're done by,
Oh,
Beautification.
that's beautification or
Dave Hawes.
Dave Hawes or whatever, they do that whole routine.
And then as far as putting the flags on the graves that the Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
usually
that's
do.
the other thing. Who does the putting of the flags on the graves? The state comes down for that,
Well,
don't
for,
they?
but
The
for
Boy
the
Scouts
rest
have
of
to
the
do the rest of the
cemetery.
ones, the listing.
Right, but usually it's the Boy Scouts who put them on, then the Girl
Girl
Scouts who
Scouts
pick
take
them
them
up.
off, right,
Yes.
okay. And when the Boy Scouts are ready to do that, if
I
they.
remember last year it was kind of
It was,
it was a little bit hairy to contact the right people and make sure that
Okay,
it was.
I will contact the Boy Scouts to get the two of them. I'll let you do the Girl Scouts, but I'll do the Boy Scouts because I know exactly to go
And
to
you gotta
this
have
thing.
to, and you're gonna start now. You have to
Yes,
start now.
if you can tell me a date that, exactly when you want those names, that you just let me know, then I will tell who I go through now.
What do you mean, the names of?
The two scouts, you know, for the program?
Oh, for the program, yeah.
Yes, that would be
It's just-
wonderful.
Yeah, but just tell me when you know.
I'm talking about the.
She's talking about
scouts
actually
that
putting
come
the
and
flags
actually
up.
put the flags
Well,
in the
I would
ground.
also,
That's
I
something
will bring
did
that
last
also
year.
up to them.
Okay,
When
because
I ask, it will be
We wanna be
two-part.
proactive and start that now, so
Okay.
that we
These
know.
are
It'll
the
be-
flags, not in the Fitch
Not
part,
in,
but
not
out
in
in
the
the main
veteran
part.
cemetery, in the
main
rest of
part
the
Spring
cemetery.
Grove where there are veterans
Right,
that,
Right.
veterans are.
Exactly.
Do we have a list?
yes. There is a list. Somebody has the Boy Scouts have a list.
Did we leave it with them last year? I can't remember who took it, because I think, well, I had it from Chick, but we gave it all to somebody. Somebody has all the information.
So
I don't-
talk to Sabina and the rest of them
I
and
think
everything
that
else.
Sabina might
And
have
see
it.
who has it.
Okay.
Because those are the people that know what they have. But start now.
Okay.
I'm trying to do everything earlier than
Mhm.
later, because we don't want to be playing catch-up
So-
at the end.
You want the names, we want the names for the program of the Boy Scouts that
Yeah, we should
stand
have
at-
that by April, by the
April?
end of April, really.
Okay.
You know,
So
because,
one to read Logan's General Order and one is
Yes.
as
Right.
an honor guard.
right,
And then one Girl Scout that reads the Gettysburg Address. as
That's
an
right.
honor guard.
yes.
So four
So, but
Scouts.
you'll get the names
I
for
got
the
the
Girl
names.
Scouts, I'll get names for the Boy Scouts.
Okay, that works for me. And then find out who's got the main list
Okay.
for placing the flags in the cemetery. And we do have all those flags are stored downstairs, I believe. The ones that we use are stored in the boxes the downstairs in our locked room. And should we need some additional flags and stuff, I do have some, because they were left to me by Phil.
Okay, and we usually put them on, like the week before,
Right.
the week before,
Week
okay.
before, and then it's like 2 weeks afterwards or something like that. Actually, they can stay on, really, they should stay on through Flag Day, I think.
Yeah,
but-
generally we try to take them down like right around the last day of school. Is when I get the
Okay.
girls to come in.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
a
That'll
week or so
include
after Flag Day, right,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Because Flag Day's the 14th.
Putting flags.
I remember last year, we were
That's what
biting
we're
our
talking about.
fingernails,
Yeah, mhm.
waiting for the state to actually deliver the flags, though, because that So whenever we're notifying the Boy Scouts, it's one of these,
But it's
okay,
not- it
go.
has
No,
nothing to
they
do
put,
with
the
that.
state puts, the
They
state
do
puts,
it.
the state
They
puts
do their
that,
own
that cemetery on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's their
They plant
response.
them?
They
Yeah.
put them in, yeah.
What, I think what happened last year was we need more flags, so we were waiting for the flags to come in?
I have 100,
Okay.
Yeah.
brand new ones. Okay, so, I mean, they're sitting in my
I think
garage.
that
I
was the
trying
problem.
to connect with the
And
right
once-
people that
Yeah.
want
once
to
I-
do it.
Once this happens this year, they will stay in the boxes downstairs. They're in my garage now in a box, so, all right.
We like to put them up at the other cemeteries too, so you're saying a week before the parade is when you put yours up?
Usually,
And then we
Yeah.
can keep them up until
until Flag Day,
Flag Day, okay.
but, you know,
We'll try to get ours up too.
we put the flags out around Veterans Circle, and then on November 11th, and they're still there, so,
Oh.
I mean, okay, you know.
Dave, who's responsible,
Yeah,
who's responsible for the metal stands that the flags go into in the
Towers.
Spring Grove and
That's
other
originally
cemeteries?
American Legion who put them in.
the metal stands, the ones that are upright behind,
Yeah.
the ones
But the
behind.
flag fits in.
The American Legion put them up.
But they're behind every gravestone, so they
No,
must be
no,
standing
no,
there.
no, they're
No, no, no,
few and far
I
between.
don't mean the ones in the state cemetery, I mean the ones in the
Oh, I don't know.
public and private cemeteries,
No.
because some, I haven't gone around and looked at a
Yeah.
lot of them, but I mean, occasionally they get broken, occasionally they're missing.
And in a lot of cases, there weren't any there in the first
Yeah.
place.
There
They
weren't
were
any
never
there.
put there in the first place. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
like a
would
private thing.
estimate they're on maybe 20% of the graves,
Yeah.
if even that.
They're few and far between. And it's the American
Yeah.
Legion who donates them.
Do they still donate them?
We'll have to
Well, no, I
ask.
guess what I'm
Yeah.
saying
American
is
Legion
that,
around.
if they're out there, we should have.
There's one in
Where's the
Norwalk.
Legion?
In Norwalk? Oh, yeah, the one up
Legion,
that's right
Stanford,
over
Legion.
in the east.
I can't tell you which chapter donates to which cemeteries, but it is an American Legion.
I would say that
Situation.
hasn't been done.
Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of that stuff. So if everybody does what they said they're gonna do, we'll be moving along by the next meeting. The Memorial Parade database has been brought back into the fold. It is now resident in the computers of the two secretaries in the main office. So any mass emailing that has to go out to everybody, like, hey, who's your new contact person and everything else, that letter can go out through Linda or Karen Dunn, all right? And
Soon.
excuse me?
Soon. We
Soon.
do the-
Should
that
go out
in-
very soon,
Yeah,
all
we
right?
do that in March.
So
I'll check with her.
check with her whenever.
If not
and
today, tomorrow.
Say, I don't know if I have a copy of what we sent out last year or not, but basically it's a letter that says, hi, we're getting ready for the Memorial Day Parade. If your group has marched before or would like to march now and everything else and all that stuff, please let us know. And there's an email address and there's a password and stuff, and you can do, I don't want to go in there. I mean, I think fewer hands is better. So if they're there and you're running the
I think you should have the
parade.
password.
Right, we should have it. Okay, I'll get it, but I mean, it's just,
Okay, I never had it.
So, speaking to that, all right, and then the only other thing that comes out of it, we send out a thing to ask for them to give us their latest contacts, because sometimes people change office and such, there's a new person or whatever. And then the next thing that goes out would be the actual line of march and, information about rules and regulations, don't throw candy, don't do this. And that will go out with the map, showing them where they stand and all that. And that's a bigger thing, but that goes out later on towards May. All right, so the first thing, this one, something should go out about to update the parade database
And
soon.
hopefully, that Biddle will get back with permissions.
Right, that's in process,
I
okay,
know.
and all that stuff. The other thing is, we received a really nice request by Dance on the DL.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, if you're going around the corner where the First Division lines up, they're in the back on the right-hand side there at Goodwives. And this is a really nice letter from these people. And I just thought it was really neat. And they asked, and they wanted to participate in the parade. And we have other dance groups, like the Keedy Dance Group and all those others that do it. And that's listed at the very end here. It's Dance on the DL, there's an informational sheet there. And they're a really nice letter. And so we have decided to let them know that we would accept them into the parade, and we'll find a division for them and so on. they're, this is the kind of stuff we
Read at the
need.
top. She
Yeah.
wrote back, I said that, we would certainly consider you you can vote on them, being participants in the parade. And she said, thank you so much. Our dancers will all be dressed in red, white, and blue. And we will play upbeat patriotic music so they can dance to it when the parade flows calls for it. Anyway, I just thought that was very nice of them.
Yeah,
At the risk of sounding grumpy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the hell, no, dance groups in the parade are really a problem if they start dancing.
Oh, yes, they have to move along.
they have to
Well,
move along,
yeah, but that has to be part of the contract.
We'll keep
I'll
them
tell her.
appraised. If you notice, at the end of the letter, it says, "We are a very organized dance company. We'll make sure our students not only understand the meaning of the day, but also what an honor it is to walk in a parade." So, I'm sure there'll be some dancing at some point when they play a little music and all that stuff.
Well,
but we
the
can-
Irish step dancers, at some point, we finally got them toward the end of the parade, so
Yeah.
that when everything stops dead, because they're doing all of this stuff in
Right.
front of the.
Well, maybe we can,
We
even
can
even in
talk
some
to them.
groups like that, maybe now's the time to just say, hey, guys, you got to move it along, and because we need to keep the flow going. We don't want to have these big gaps and stuff.
Yes,
and
that's a very
everything.
good
So,
point.
Man.
when we send something out, we
Yep.
can send something out with a little bit of a reminder that the groups have to keep pace.
Because that's gonna be their model.
Yeah. Well,
Well, seeing what the step dancers do, and they just, anyway, enough said.
Yeah.
so that's the last thing we have there. I don't think there's any problem letting them in. I mean, if it were a different type of group, they seem like they've got their heads on straight and they understand, what this is all
I'll
about.
email her back and tell her they have to move along and keep pace
Um,
with the rest of the
Now,
parade.
Are they a for-profit company, is that the idea?
I think they are.
I don't know.
Yeah. All these groups are. Almost all of them are. Not Pivot and places like that, but they're just, well, they can't advertise themselves. We know that. They can't have a banner, that
No.
advertises stuff
They
like
have
that.
to
And they
be
can't be
patriotic.
political either. It's one of the last bastions of not being political, our Memorial Day parade. So, I think we're in good hands here. I think we're in good shape with all the different committees. People should communicate, especially like 2020 and cemetery, to get things finalized there. We'll help where we can help. But I think when you put something in the hands of a committee, you pick the people, you acknowledge their expertise, and you let them run with it and do it. And that's how I choose to lead. But do check back with us if there's a problem. Is there anything else, any other business that we're not dealing with here at this particular point that we should be dealing with? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
You had given it to me last time. Sorry.
Shit. I think that's it.
Because I was helping in the front when they
So
came
for
in.
Carabellian,
Anybody want a Carabelle?
Raleigh does.
Okay,
Tell Raleigh one.
one here, and a
Yeah.
second here.
Understand.
We make a hell of a team.
yes.
So,
Joe.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll see you next time, which is going to be
Thank you, Dave.
April